Welcome to the SMB Community Podcast with your hosts, Amy Babinchak, James Kernan, and Karl Polachuk. Produced by and for the Small Biz Thoughts community. We're dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional. This podcast is sponsored by the Small Biz Thoughts technology community. Check us out at smallbizthoughts.org. Forums, templates, and checklists are just the start. Our community includes all of the best-selling books on managed services in all available formats, plus free training, members-only programs, and the best business training available to managed service providers anywhere. Plus, we have weekly, live, members-only Zoom calls. The average member saves more than 200% of their membership cost each year. We are totally dedicated to your success. Just because you're in business for yourself doesn't mean you have to go it alone. Join us today at smallbizthoughts.org. Hi, this is Karl. Welcome to another SMB Community Podcast. I'm joined today by writer Kunkel, who is the head of Acronis Cyberfit Academy. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Karl. It's great to be here.
I guess I should feel like I'm being welcomed since we're at your event.
Yes.
So, recording this live from the Cyberfit Summit in Miami, hoping that we can race ahead of the storm.
Exactly.
so this won't air until December, but this has been an amazing event. And I have to say, probably the most international event I've attended in the SMB space.
Excellent. Yeah, we have, even my own team of 22, we have people around the world. I kind of joke that the sun doesn't set on the Acronis Cyberfit Academy.
So the Academy is always somebody working. That's good. That means you can answer the phones 24/7.
Exactly, an email and website.
So let me back up a little bit.
Sure.
Tell me about you, how you got here, and what do you do for a living?
Sure. So my name is writer Kunkel, and I originally was a software engineer and was in software engineering, and I had a great opportunity to move over to customer support because, I'm not outgoing at all. So, I did some time in customer support, which I would recommend anybody listening. It really, you get really educated on what customers want, being able to at least respond to a customer, sir, I know we talked yesterday. I don't have an answer for you, but I'm still working on it. Next day, give them a call. I'm trying to keep touching the customer instead of waiting 2 weeks and coming back with the perfect solution, right? Being able to set expectations with that. I had an opportunity to go to Japan and do some live training, and I really like this training piece, which I like to call education services. It's a services org. Got a chance to move out to California, work for Juniper Networks, work for some startups. I was at Riverbed Technology for a while and had this great opportunity to come over to Acronis to run their whole head of the Acronis Cyberfit Academy. And we really are focused on training, educating the channel partners, everyone that's listening to my voice.
And so the Academy, just so folks know, is not just for how to use Acronis tools and Acronis services. It's all about being successful in the much bigger picture. So tell us a little bit about what that's about.
Sure. So traditionally, you always hear that there'll be a technical track. Okay, how do all these buttons and knobs work? Technical track. We realize we also need to have a business track to teach them how to sell the product. Right? How do you sales and positioning to sell the product? Also then have a business track, which some of your training content is there. We have a developer track so that you can learn how to use our APIs and our API with your own infrastructure. So having those multiple tracks for the different personas to attend the training has been really successful for us.
It's interesting. You talk about the knobs and switches. If you think of it like an airplane, you have to learn how to physically fly the airplane, like make it fly, but the most important is the training that says, okay, and when something goes wrong, here's what you do, right? So you really do need both pieces of that training because, people often get into technology because they love technology. And that does not make them good at customer service or even setting up pricing or service delivery or anything like that. So you really do need both pieces of the puzzle. So what kinds of things do people need to do to get into the academy? Do you have to be an Acronis reseller? Do you have to have a certain level of sales? What do you have to
Yeah,
do?
so right now today it is a free benefit of our partner program. So you can sign up for Acronis's partner program, and then there's a free tier of the partner program, and with access through the Acronis partner portal, you can get into our academy and learn. In 2023, we're looking at a bunch of other different ways, and anybody listening, if they've got some other ideas of that. The other piece that we've done, some of our larger service providers, we've also taken our content and embedded in their learning systems, so that if you have a service provider, you potentially could learn all the other product lines that you have, and also have Acronis's product line to learn about there too.
Very cool. And are there tiers? Is it like a 101, 201, 301?
Yeah, so we do a fundamentals course to try to just give you the basics, a sales and a tech fundamentals. And a lot of times I tell everybody to start with the sales fundamentals so you can at least understand, packaging and pricing and what it is. A lot of times the tech is easy. And then we have an associate level that really breaks down all of our different advanced packs. If you want to do advanced security, email security, the disaster recovery, so you can learn about the different options that we have to offer your clients.
And is this all on demand?
Yes, we offer on demand, and the on demand plus in 8 languages. So you talked about this. So this is for me, even when I've been at large companies, the fact that we have so much on demand content that is, the slides are in local language, the speakers in local language, and even the interface that you're on is in local language. So many times, we won't have that. So 8 languages. And then we also offer Zoom classes that are in 8 languages also, that you can sign up via Zoom links.
Right. So do you have your own platform? Like I go to cyberfitacademy.com or something like that?
So it's all through Acronis's partner portal. So if you go through the partner portal and authenticate, once you're in the partner portal, there's links in the partner portal that'll take you to our academy.
So in general, like say a small MSP, they got 5 employees. What kind of classes do they normally take? Like, what's the structure look like?
So what we would suggest would be figuring out, the fundamentals courses are short enough. We'd almost recommend to take those, for everyone to take those, and then depending on your specialty, is if it's a sales or tech, to then do that. We also offer one-on-one coaching sessions. That if there's one-on-one coaching that you feel like you want some coaching sessions, we have 4 sales coaches that are full-time, and the 12 that are part-time coaches that can also help with the sales coaching.
Wow. So, and all of that is covered, like just part of the partner program?
It's part of the partner program, yes.
Very cool. So let's just talk a minute, so not about the academy, but
sure.
So you mentioned customer service. What's the biggest challenge today when you think about MSPs trying to be secure and keep up with everything, and then also try to figure out what the clients want? Like it seems like it's a very difficult time to be in customer service.
Yes, it is. Customer service, customer success. But the whole world is moving sort of the services industry, right? So it's very interesting being there. I do think that education can be that differentiator of learning the new items. Being able to listen to podcasts and listen to what's new, and even the security threat area. One just little piece that I learned a couple days ago about two-factor authentication. We all hear about two-factor authentication, but they also talk about when you have a two-factor authentication, you have certain devices that are approved for the two-factor authentication, and they recommend that you should go in and actually check all those devices. Do you have old cell phones that are still approved on that two-factor authentication? Did some bad hacker get in and add their own cell phone to the two-factor authentication? And sort of some of those little tips of always be learning, right? That always be learning with this market moving so quickly. You need to find some streams where you can constantly be learning.
Well, and it never stops. I mean, the way that the bad guys get in is just, it's literally getting smarter every minute.
Yes.
So, and it's funny because Acronis used to be, I guess, for me anyway, a backup company.
Right.
And now it's a security company.
Exactly.
And, it's sort of like we add cyber to it, but cybersecurity is just security. It's just the modern version of security. And customer service is just service. And everybody here, everybody listening anyway, is in customer service. We are a service industry, and so it's almost like we should scratch out the word customer because in Scotland they don't call them Scotty dogs. They just call them dogs,
Right.
right? So customers just call it service, right?
Right.
They don't say customer service. What kinds of classes do you have for like somebody who's new? Is like I need to learn about security and I need to learn about your products and I need everything, but I can't swallow the ocean. So where do I start?
Yeah. So, if I had a magic wand, which I'm still working on making one, my goal would be to have people come back once a month or every month and slowly pick at our content and take content. So we have some basic intro to security. We have some, plans, packaging, and pricing that we had a team member do, and that really to get our content to a point that you don't just come in, once every 11 months, take the certification, and now you're at a certain level so that you get a partner program discount. I would rather have them slowly come back and keep slowly consuming. And then that also makes sure that our team has to have fresh content to consume, and then also that there's that willing to just keep coming back and keep the learning journey going. So we've been trying to, not have 10-hour training, have smaller pieces that you can sort of work on a smaller place. And It does work on you can use your phone, iPad to consume their training.
So I know you have stuff from me, stuff from Eric Simpson.
Yep.
Lots of other folks. How much of it is built and designed by contractors like us versus the team at the Cyberfit Academy?
Well, I think about 90. I would bet 90% of our content is designed by the team that we have, and smaller pieces is when we can share with the experts and have the experts. That's where we would also want to do.
So, what's the average size? Is it like a 1 hour class or?
Yeah, 1 hour class. But then because when it's online and self-paced, you can take 50 minutes or 10 minutes and leave and come back, and the interface will remember where you were.
Yeah, and what kind of a dashboard is there? Can I see all the classes I've taken, and can I I guess sort of line up classes I want to take and say, okay, what's next? And
so we have a catalog, and then we also, for the technical track, we do offer a hands-on lab that comes with it. So you could be doing the technical, push a button, a Windows machine spins up, and you can actually use the Acronis product, the Acronis production product, because it's cloud-based. So we just spin up a production instance, and you can use that production instance to practice to see what it's like loading the agent on, to see what it's like doing a backup, play with disaster recovery. And that's been pretty popular as people even trial of I'm just curious to see what the product looks like.
Right. So this is unrelated to anything else, but because I'm a nerd, is that just like an Azure instance that gets fired up?
Yes, it's another. Yeah, I think it's a Google instance that we have partnered with SIT Alamira as another company that we've partnered with to help to make the eLab. But it's a seamless experience that once you're near the partner portal and in our academy and click a button, that will open another one and spin up.
So you can always keep that updated with the latest version of your software.
Correct. And it is because what'll actually spin up is literally a production instance. So I've done eLabs in the past where you have to sort of quote fake production, but the fact that Acronis has this API interface, we actually just call the production API and ask for a new provisioned instance for this time.
Which works perfect if somebody's like, oh, let me see, how does this install?
Right.
It just installs the real deal.
That's correct.
Very nice.
Right.
Yeah, that's very cool. So what do the folks around the world do with all of this? Like you got this team working 24/7. So what are they doing in the other countries? They're just doing local support?
Yeah, so one of Acronis' initiatives is this sort of global local, to be a global company but still have local presence in the local countries. So being able to have fluent speakers, go on site at places and do training. And COVID really forced everything online, but even before COVID, Acronis was a very, very global company, realizing that for how many data centers, and I don't even remember if it's over 30 now. I'm going to say the wrong number even when you hear this in December. We're adding data centers around the world. So, for example, we'll have a data center in South Africa, And the idea would be is if you're a South African company and want to back up your data, you know that the data won't leave borders, right? So there's always the question, and I know you know this well, but there's always the question of, well, if I back up on Azure, did my data just cross borders and other laws that I didn't realize are now in effect? So that sort of also goes to the global local of have data centers around the world.
Right. So obviously, there's some system internally to keep your team informed of the changes that happen with Acronis. But what about the changes that happen with the rest of the world? How do you stay up to date with all of that?
Yeah, a lot of communication and email. Yeah, so to be able to stay up to date, it it yeah, it takes a lot, and also even just time zones, just working on time zones of when I'm in Oakland, California, and sort of 6 a.m. for me is sort of seems like the time when a lot of time that we can have most of the team. The folks in Japan, it's very late for them. The day, the same day, but that's how we try to have team meetings to sync up because we're creating content all the time, and it's very easy to have that isolated feel. I will say Acronis has been very welcoming of, people that have joined remotely to try to make sure that they're engaged and feel that they're welcome as an employee.
Right. And you have offices in Singapore, right?
Yes, also in Singapore.
I was just in Singapore last week, like as we're recording this anyway.
Yes.
So I wish I'd have known that. I
would
drop by.
Yeah.
So now I have to go back to Singapore.
Oh, I love Singapore. I'll go with you.
So very cool. And so you're in the Bay Area.
Yes.
And is that where the Academy headquarters is, or is it basically it's online, so it's everywhere?
Yeah. I mean, the largest presence of employees that I have in my team are in Sofia, Bulgaria. Which people listening, if you've never been to Bulgaria, I've been twice this year. It's a wonderful, wonderful country, very, very welcoming people, and we have a very large office there, and that's where most of my team members are. But they work all sorts of hours, right, to be able to time shift.
Right. Yeah. Well, that time thing is very difficult. It's for me anyway. I'm either dealing with the West Coast of the U.S. and Asia or Australia. Or I'm dealing with the East Coast and the UK and Europe, but doing all of them at the same time, that's a huge challenge.
Yeah, I always tell people the middle of my day is when I have my me time. The early morning is Europe. The late my evening is the Asia, Australasia.
So you do a split shift?
Like kind of, yeah.
4-4-4. So that's not a bad deal. So folks go to Acronis.com. They sign up for the partner program.
Correct.
And do you have to be in the partner program for any period of time before you can start with the Cyberfit Academy?
What'll have to happen that there'll be a partner program approval that'll happen. I don't know off the top of my head how fast that partner program approval will happen. That's another team. But then once when your partner program approval happens, then you can get access to the academy.
And there's no sales requirements. I don't have to have an installed base before I can take classes.
No.
So that makes sense for people getting started. So do you recommend like a weekly cadence of like just pick an hour a week and just commit to each member of your staff?
Yeah, I definitely would. And then when you go with Acronis, right? Not if, when
there you go.
When you go with Acronis.
That's the salesman, yeah.
Yeah, when you go with Acronis, I would say the earlier you can get into the training, better. The earlier you can get your people into the training. And that's one of the big pushes that we're doing for 2023 is what can we do to convince more people. Even before you sign up, we have a ways that even if you're still working on, if there's a legal contract or something that you're still working on, can we get you provisionally into the academy to start learning before some of the contracts are signed? Because we've just seen such a benefit from people starting the learning early and then figuring out prices and packaging, right? The sooner you can do that, figuring out sales pitches, figuring out the technical side. How many endpoints you're going to use.
So it can't be the same people doing the sales pitches as are doing the technical training.
Correct.
So how is your team split up that way? Is it like 60-40 or?
Yeah, so we originally had more technical, but when we adopted 4 sales trainers, it's probably split more technical. Our technical training is the most popular, but I think that what we're also finding is that those technicals, sometimes we need to force them to at least listen to the fundamentals of the sales just so you get some ideas, right? So, and I'm sure you've seen it in business that you may have the best technical idea, but if you don't have the right sales side or even business side of how you're going to price and package that, you might fail.
Right. Well, and sometimes somebody accidentally catches a whale, and then they're like, oh, "Okay, so I can design a system for 100 users, but now I got this client who's 250. Can you help with that? And how do you engage them, or how do they engage you?"
Yeah, so we do have, whether it be for us with some sales coaching or even engaging professional services, we'll find a way to right, service industry. We'll find a way to make you happy with that.
Right. And do I talk with you about margins and the whole deal, or
we have some people on our team that'd be happy to talk to you about margins and some of those numbers. I have one person on my team that unfortunately he was an MSP and he was a failed MSP because some of the business side, he's extremely technical, but there were some business decisions that were poorly made, and he's now there, but he also has a great story to be able to tell of other MSPs. Hey, these two things I really did wrong, and be able to sort of share that message. I'm sure you've got plenty of them.
Oh yeah. Well, I was going to ask you if you've got like a favorite. You don't have to say the name, but a favorite MSP story of somebody who used your services and just it really changed the way they were able to succeed.
Wow, there's there's so many stories. I think that the idea when MSPs realize that they can do the backup, and along with doing the backup, being able to test the backup with our virtual disaster recovery, so you can test the backup and the disaster recovery, and then even that backup can be in the cloud and you can scan for malware. I've heard some bad cases of they have the backup but they restore it, but the malware is still even in the backup. So the server got compromised. They formatted it, put the backup on. It didn't matter because the backup was still compromised. So that I was amazed even when I came onto Acronis, the fact of that. It never occurred to me. Oh, that backup in the cloud, actually using the cloud resources and scan that backup, and it even might be a year-old backup and scan it with the modern AV engines that Acronis has. Machine learning and our advanced security engines, you might find something in that backup that you didn't realize was there, right? Or the signature or AI hadn't detected it back then. So,
and what's the lag time? So let's say Acronis introduces a new product. It's amazing and spectacular, and then when can I expect that there will be some training in the Cyberfit Academy?
So we are trying to. There's even other products that were announced this at the summit this week. We already were working on that training, months in previous. So, like, as making your own content, right? It takes a long time to make the content.
So they don't keep the training people in the dark until after it's done?
Yeah, no. So I definitely have senior executives that have realized how poorly that can go. So that, I've got some senior executives that say, hey, we'll show you some demo machines. We'll let you talk to the engineers and get some of that. And sometimes it might even be a 10 or 20 minute piece of content, right? Just so you at least understand what, say DLP or EDR or some of these terms mean, to even think about it. Yeah, maybe I'll look at that or not look at that when I sort of think about my yearly redoing my pricing.
Right. And Acronis has a YouTube channel. So do you do any of the stuff that's related to that?
We do, and we're in the process of trying to relaunch that. I think that YouTube is an interesting, between YouTube and LinkedIn and some of these delivery mechanisms. We're trying to take a look at YouTube and really try to increase the consumption, and even put content up there that might get some better SEO and clicks. Asking for the links. It's always interesting. It's not just you upload the content anymore, right? It's upload the content and you have to format it in a certain way that people will.
Well, it's got to be tagged and SEO and all that happy stuff. And now YouTube's got chapters, so you have to, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly.
It literally never stops.
Right.
And then once you figure it out, they change the algorithm. So, it's always chasing something. So on one side, you have the technical people chasing the bad guys with cyberware or crypto
currency and all that.
Right.
And then on the other side, you've got you trying to figure out, okay, we got to push the marketing on this and get people trained. So how many people participate? Like how many partners actually take advantage of the Academy?
So we have gone from number of certificates a year to the same number of certificates in a month. It has been...
So in what period of time? Just like since you've been there?
Yeah. So that we did X number of certificates in a year, and now we're doing that number of certificates in a month. So it's been fantastic. We also have digital badges. So with a company called Credly, so you can get a digital badge. That's been really successful on LinkedIn, that you can show your digital badge. And then even, working with the digital badge provider Credly, they were amazed. It's like, wow, you have a lot of single people that have a lot of badges. A lot of other people only have one badge, and somehow you're driving them. And what we try to do is make smaller badges, smaller steps and more badges, right?
And so you have a certification program? So
Yes.
like Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer used to be one of their big things.
Right.
So what's the name of your certification?
So yeah, the Acronis Cyberfit Academy, and then we have a fundamentals certification and then associate level certification. So you could be a fundamentals or associate and then a professional level. So 3 levels of certification, both sales and tech.
And the fundamentals are the like really quick intro things.
Correct.
So at least you've tasted it. You've tasted the Kool-Aid. You may not
Yes.
have drunk it all yet. So
Exactly.
Very cool. And how often should people retake a class?
So what we do is you're required from the partner program to take the class every year. But what we also will do is Acronis Cyber Protect Cloud releases monthly releases and monthly updates. So we will actually have a What's New video coming out every month. And then what we're going to do for this show was that if you've already taken a certification, we were going to do a smaller recertification exam, training and exam, just to get you up to date of what's new in a year, right? I mean, every product is changing so quickly, adding new features and adding new capabilities. So we were going to do something shorter and smaller and have a whole recertification track.
Right. So at the Cyberfit Summit in Miami, some new stuff was introduced.
Mm-hmm.
So how quickly is that training already up? Is it already available, or within a month or two? Or?
It'll be within weeks. Yeah, that we'll have some training content up there. We're pushing for a very large launch. My whole team will hear this. the 15th of January, we're having a whole new launch of all of our content, Fundamentals Associate, and all the different languages to be able to come out onto the partner portal.
Very good. So making a note, January 15th.
Exactly.
So so this will come out, this podcast will come out in December, but we'll do heads up for January 15th. So
perfect.
That's pretty much what I had.
Okay,
I mean,
excellent.
It's been a half an hour. I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to add that I
No,
didn't?
that's it. Yeah, please, you could reach out to me or you can look for the Acronis Cyberfit Academy on the partner portal, and happy to answer any of your questions.
Very good. And you'll get us all the links for social media and all that,
Sure.
so we can all find out more about the Cyberfit Academy.
Yep.
All right. Ryder Kunkel from Acronis, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
This has been yet another SMB Community Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the SMB Community Podcast. If you found this useful, interesting, or fun, please subscribe, share with your friends, and give us a thumbs up on your favorite social media. Please check out the show notes at smbcommunitypodcast.com and give us your feedback.